Okay, so welcome. Like I said, Hello. I'm glad you're here. Want to introduce some friends of mine, or at least Ralph's my friend. I don't know about Kathleen, but
I'm not sure either.
do what?
I said you married or something.
Yeah. Anyway, Ralph and Kathleen Bush, and from your main residence is where?
Port Charlotte, Florida.
Florida, okay, because you was talking about Alabama a while ago, and I did. So anyway, he's a big shot, and he teaches captains of boats. He's a captain teacher. Can you believe that? And so that means you have to. He's kind of like a fifth degree captain or something like that. Would you call that, Ralph?
We'll call it that.
Okay. So. Anyway, we're glad to hear, and anyway, if you'd like to say something later, we'll put you into the program. We don't have any music tonight. Vanessa had a memorial service that she was going to be involved in with her sister that passed a month or two ago, and so she was involved with that. So I saw Jimmy's here, so Jimmy, you could play the guitar and hum or something, right?
Well, if I could sing, I would play.
Okay, all right. So anyway, welcome to everybody out in internet land. We're glad that you're with us. This is Saturday Night Live, Life Recovery. We're here to help you to deal with the messiness of life. Anybody here have a messy life?
Messy life.
Or do you know somebody that has a messy life? Okay. And does their messy life affect you any?
Yeah, make me feel better.
Cars.
Misery likes company.
Yeah. Okay. And it seemed, how's the temperature in here to you guys? Is it good? Okay. Well, I'm hot. I just want to tell you that, Willie, I'm hot.
It's down on 69.
69. Okay. All right. But I've been running around and fretting here. So, all right. So tonight we have. I need to do a piece of business. Last week, I think it was last week, I talked about not having a meeting on July the 6th, which is the weekend right after the 4th of July. Got that? And so, hi Jesse. And I almost didn't recognize you with those sunglasses on. So we talked about it. Everybody said they wanted to have a meeting, but today I've decided that we're not going to have a meeting on that day, because even though you say you're going to be here, I have found out in the last 19 or 20 years, for some reason you guys don't always do what you say. Now, I don't mean to be harsh or anything. I'm just telling the truth.
Truth hurts.
Can you handle the truth? Just jesting a little bit. So anyway, we're not going to have a meeting on July the 6th, okay? Well, is that going to make anybody really mad? I'm sorry about that. Not very much, though. Jesse's way in the back where nobody could see him. He had his hand up. So anyway, we're not going to have a meeting on the 6th. And on the 29th of June, Robert is going to be doing the step, and it'll be on healing the brokenness. Right, Robert? And Garth is going to be doing the reflection. He's going to reflect. All right, Garth. And so that will be out of Psalms 51, verse 6 through 19. So that's what we'll be doing next week. This week, we're going to be covering God's abundant pardon. Okay? And that's out of Isaiah 55, 1 through 9. So, step 6, because this is the 6th month, so we're doing step 6, right? Everybody's good with that? Yes. Dave, you're new here tonight, so anyway, that's kind of how we do the steps. I don't know if you're familiar with the steps or not, but we just take one step a month. Okay? Shane probably already remember that, right? From last time you was here, maybe? So, anyway, so it's step 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. So that's step 6. Now, the question is, are you ready for a question? Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Shoot.
What does God's abundant pardon mean? What does that mean?
Forgiveness comes in mind.
That's a good word.
Means we're justified.
Say it again, John. Look at me.
We're justified.
Okay, justification then.
We're pardoned. We're justified. Just as if we had not done what we did.
Okay, all right. Well,
We were guilty, but I think about a court case.
Yes.
or whatever, That we were, but we could go to hell or whatever, and we don't have to.
yes,
He's pardoned.
Okay.
You know,
He-
we accepted it.
He's pardoned us.
He's forgiven us of what we did.
Right, He's forget.
We did a horrible
Yes.
thing, but it's-
That's a little different than what John said,
But what I'm saying, I just think.
but you're closer to the right. I just thought I'd let you know that, Miracle, because you always like,
Arguing, throw you in jail.
yeah.
Not only for what we've done, but also what we do.
Boy, that's good.
That's-
Man, can you believe that? That's a deal, right? Isn't that a deal? Would you make that deal with somebody?
Nope.
Come on. Would you make that deal with somebody? I'll forgive you for everything that you're going to do in the future. And I'll cover the cost of it. Yes? Wait a second. I can't pull it up.
Malia.
Malia, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. It makes me think of grace, you know. I think it's similar, like doing what we did, but we're not getting what we deserve.
Isn't that great? That is grace. That's good. That's good. Anybody else want to throw a...
You know, and you mentioned kind of legal, pardon is as if you never did it. But
Not according to the definition.
I think, I was thinking that if you're pardoned of your crime, it's,
Well, you have been forgiven.
I see.
Okay? And you, the consequences has been erased. So you don't have to suffer the consequences. But the fact, which actually, as I was studying this week again, going over the information, it's not, because I've taught this before, and I taught it as being acquitted, which is what you just said.
Oh.
But like you're not, you've been totally, that your mistake has been wiped out. It's not like that. Here we're talking about that you are forgiven. Yes, you did what you did, but you've been forgiven. All right? Let me share out of a couple of other scriptures. Is that all right? Actually, it's the same scripture that we're going to be... Who's doing the step tonight? Oh, okay. Corey's going to be sharing tonight, but I've got it out of multiple translations, which they use a different word for this pardon, okay? So what we'll be using, our translation that we use is the New Living Translation, and the main part of the verse that we're talking about here is for he will forgive generously. That's what is in the New Living Translation. If you look in that Bible like what Robert has in front of him, he says, it'll say, he will forgive generously. And that's kind of what we're talking about. But it goes on and adds on the generously part, okay? And Corey will be talking about that a little later. Right, Corey? All right. And so, out of King James, the English Standard Version, and the New King James, and several others, they use this term, which is what our lesson is using, and that's for he will abundantly pardon, all right? So in the New Living Translation, it says that he will forgive us generously. In several other translations, and actually the English, I understand, the English Standard Version is closer to the original. So it's saying abundant pardon, all right? And also out of the New International Version is a little bit different, but I thought it was good. It says, for he will freely pardon. freely pardon. Hello, everybody. You look familiar.
My name's Craig. This is
Craig. Yeah, Craig and Joni. Yeah. And who's...
Matthew Mason.
Hey, Mason. Glad to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody say, hi, Craig.
Hi, Greg.
Say hi, Joni.
Hi,
And everybody, don't forget Mason. Hadn't seen you guys in a long time. Well, I saw you on Facebook the other day.
I live 6 hours away, so I can count on it.
Well, we're having a contest, see who's furthest away. Ralph, how far are you?
About 19 hours.
Okay, so you didn't quite make it crazy. But we're glad you're here.
We appreciate the 6 hours.
So we're talking about our topic that we're going to be going over tonight. So I think I was saying out of the New International Version, it says that He will freely pardon us. So does that help us start to get a little clearer idea? And now the last one is the Amplified Bible says, for He will, is that right? Yeah. For He will abundantly pardon us, which is basically the same thing that we've already talked about. So anyway, it's just some of that helping us to see what we're talking about tonight. So I got another question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready, Jesse? I think you missed the first one. I think you came in late. Yeah. So
this one's all yours.
no, we're going to give this to Craig. Doesn't he look smart? Intelligent. Yeah, he could. Yeah. I'm just kidding, Craig. Do what?
I said, you're good, sir.
All right, here's the question. How does God's abundant pardon, which is what we're talking about, connect or intersect with step 6? Now, I read it a while ago. Do I need to read it again? Shall I do that? We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. So how does God's abundant pardon intersect with step 6? Yes, Malia?
Yes. So, in step 6, we're asking him to remove these defects of character,
Right?
and whenever he's abundant, like his abundant pardon
Yes.
is, forgive me if this isn't the right word, but pardoning our defects of character.
Yes.
So, I think that's how they intersect.
Okay. Anybody else have a thought?
I'm thinking with the lack of judgment.
You're going to have to expound on that because I think you started in the middle.
If it's, abundantly given, it's just without judgment. And so when we're asking for them to be removed, He's removing them without judging us for having done them.
Okay. Well, let's look at step 6 again. Does anybody else have anything you want to say?
I think it's abundantly because we need that grace over and over. It just doesn't go away.
Right. I wonder, does it get weaker or stronger as we use it? Got any ideas?
The grace one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it changes.
I don't know. Either that or it gets greater. I don't think it decreases by any means.
So it doesn't decrease. He says it stays the same. Ralph, you got any ideas? I mean, look at that guy. He's a black 5 black belt captain over there. So it increases. Why would you say that?
She's feeling it.
Ask Carolyn.
Because I married her indeed.
Okay. Anybody else comment? Robert, wait a minute. Here comes the facts right here.
No. I think it also has to do with giving us permission to pardon ourselves.
Okay.
God pardons us and He encourages us to forgive ourselves. Because sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is move on and say, okay, I know I'm messed up and I want to do better, but sometimes it's really hard to move past, you know.
Sometimes hard to forgive ourselves.
Hard to-
How many have ever had any problems with forgiving yourself? The rest of you are liars. You want me to ask that question again? Go ahead. That's it. The only thing that, that I try to be real careful on using that statement, forgiving ourselves, because some religious people get really uptight about that terminology. And so I make sure that they understand that I understand what that means. And that is that we're appropriating God's grace of His forgiveness, and we're connecting with it, so we're applying it to our lives, which is another way of saying we're forgiving ourselves. But to satisfy their, whatever you'd want to call that. Huh? Uptightness. Well, that's one way of saying it. And so that's how I communicate. Does that make sense? So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I had a long debate with a preacher one time about that particular topic about 25 or 30 years ago, and so.
And I think also, when we forgive ourselves, that doesn't mean that we use it as an excuse to do it again.
That's right.
Constantly working on,
That doesn't mean that we won't.
right, but we are aware that that's a problem in our life.
Yes.
And when we forgive ourselves, that doesn't mean that, okay, I'm forgetting about that as if it never happened.
Right, right.
Because chances are it's a problem and it could, and very easily may happen again. So we've got to be doubly watchful of those defects of character.
And that'd be a good thing, right?
Yes.
David, you got anything you want to say on this?
No.
Are you sure? You can jump in here with both feet. Somebody will throw you a life preserver if you need it. We got a captain over here. He'll help you.
It's been a taxing day.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. I thought of you a minute ago, and I didn't want to leave you out.
I would,
Craig. Had to practice, Craig.
Excuse me?
I had to practice.
I definitely, obviously struggle with accepting forgiveness, and I beat myself up horribly a lot over it. And in my opinion, and I already told you I struggle with it, God says He's forgiven me. And when I don't accept that and believe that, and I struggle with it, I'm essentially telling Him that I appreciate His thoughts on it, but it's not that good enough for me,
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. I'm saying, God, you're not good enough for me.
And how's that work out for you?
I still struggle with accepting it. I still think He just wants me to do it.
Well, this is what I usually say, if you'd like for me to say it.
I mean, it's your floor, I guess.
Well, no, I'm asking for permission.
Do what you will.
No, I'm asking for permission.
Please do.
Are you sure?
I'm not gonna beg you, I mean.
Okay. Well, I usually ask for permission like 3 times, because that that helps you to open up a crack there where some of the information may go in. So is that okay? All right. What you're doing is you recognize that God's forgiven you because He said He did, and you believe that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And He's God, but you're saying it don't matter that you're God. I'm going to play God.
That's how I feel that it comes across.
Yes, but there's a reason why you do that to yourself. And it's not because you're a bad person. I say it's because you got a good heart.
I appreciate that.
You need to ask a question.
How did you know?
By what you said. And besides that,
Question, I'm good with the conversation.
okay, well, but see, I need you to ask a question. Do I?
That pussy goes for a while to get there.
So the question is, how would I know? Is because it's a common human behavioral trait to try to punish ourselves, to try to get ourselves to be acceptable to whomever we want to be acceptable to. Because we think if I punish myself, that'll make me better in the future. Is that correct or incorrect?
I don't know that it'll make me better in the future. It's not-
No, I didn't say that it would make you better. I said that's a belief that we have.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that's how I go about it.
Then why do you do it?
Maybe because I think I don't deserve that forgiveness.
Okay, well then that's a little different problem. But then that means you're calling God a liar.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah? And so then the next step is, I bet you've forgiven somebody in the past. So it's not that you don't know how to forgive because
I gotta forgive myself.
but you know how to forgive because you've done it for others.
Correct.
And so you say you don't deserve it. And I don't want to, I don't want to forgive myself. Because if I keep punishing myself, then maybe that'll make me acceptable. But the fact of it is, has punishment ever made you better?
No, it just keeps me getting stuck in the past. And if I can't get past my past, I have no future.
And it also does another thing. Because the principle of practicing something, okay, the principle of practicing something is what you practice, you get better at. And what are you practicing?
What am I practicing? On that level? I'm trying to forgive myself.
No, you're practicing unforgiveness.
Okay, that sounds probably appropriate as well.
Okay, and so, and if we practice unforgiveness, then that means we get better at unforgiveness. So, Craig, here's my suggestion. Take it if you will. How about that? Is that all right? And I don't make very many suggestions, all right? Here's my suggestion, if you will. Will you take it?
Yes, sir.
Look at it. How about practicing forgiveness? Practice what you want instead of what you don't want. Now, it tastes terrible in the beginning. But just because it tastes bad, it's just because it's very unfamiliar. And whatever you practice, the principle is whatever you practice, you get better. What do you think about that?
How do you practice that? You're talking about practicing forgiving others more or practicing forgiving myself more?
You know what I mean.
Not really. How do you go about practice? It's not gonna-
Forgiving yourself. I forgive myself. Hey, take this pen. Okay? Hold the pen up like this. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. You're practicing squeezing. That's kind of like unforgiveness. Oh, don't set it down. I didn't say set it down. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Now take your hand out over the table. Now open up your hand.
That's how we do it.
You practice it. You practice letting it go. Practice it. Now, when you opened up your hand, did you by chance feel anything?
I kind of want to stick a little bit because my hands are sweating.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep on to it a little.
Sometimes that's the way it is, isn't it? But you also should have felt some tingling if you squeezed hard enough. There, yeah. And that's kind of the way letting things go in your spirit. Letting it go. Because, see, it's anchors. That's spiritual medicine. Soul medicine. What do you think?
That's good, man.
All right.
Practice makes permanent.
Don't pick it up. I was waiting on you.
I think I'm practicing later in that.
Okay.
Practice makes permanent.
That is correct. Miracle's been around a while. It's not practice makes permanent. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So, anyway, excuse me. Well, thank you, Ralph. So I need to get back on track. I think what I need to do is probably get out of the way. So, thank you for being here, Craig. Thank you for letting me interact with you. I hope that's okay with you. All right. And Tommy, come on down.
And thank you for coming, because now I just learned something because of you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi. The 12 steps We admitted that we were powerless over our problems and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3. We made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. Step 4. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Step 7. We humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. Step 8. We made a list of all persons who we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9. We made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10. We continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and practice these principles in all of our affairs. And the one we're on now is step 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you. Willie, or Will.
One of the wills.
It's Corey, isn't it? No. Oh, Will, you're gonna do the, come on. Name right there, Will.
Hello. So loud. I'll put this down to where Corey can use it. My name is Will, and here at Saturday Night Live, we like to acknowledge clean time with colorful bracelets. Is it too loud?
It's a delay, and I was laughing
Oh.
at your joke there, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Just trying to make sure that we're, got vocals or not.
Okay, we'll start over. Here at Saturday Night Live, we like to acknowledge clean time with colorful bracelets. This clean time isn't just from drugs and alcohol, but from whatever keeps you in bondage. Drugs, alcohol, anger, gambling, food addiction, lying, cheating, stealing, pornography, sex addiction, cutting, you fill in the blanks. We have white bracelets just for today or less than 30 days. Orange for 30, green for 60. Am I going too fast? Shay, do this one at a time.
I do you.
Okay. I'll do it different somewhere else. We have a white bracelet just for today. Would anyone like a white bracelet for just for a day under 30? You gotta make them get up. There's work involved in this. There you go.
So, was there somebody else in the back?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
I didn't see anybody want to.
Oh, not on the white, no. Anyway, I have 30 days for an orange bracelet. Green for 60. Anyone have 60 days? Maroon for 90. Anyone got 90? We got, what's that?
Somebody said it was a 90.
I just enjoy the awkward silence. We got blue for 6 months. Anyone got 6 months? Glow in the dark for, I'm just kidding. We got a yellow for 9 months.
He won't let you, Fred. He won't let you pick it up. We love you, Fred.
Congratulations. You too. 9 months.
Oh, congratulations.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Is that 3 people getting, wow. Congratulations, Malia, Shannon, and Dave. Anonymity, you know. I mean, we also have a glow in the dark for 1 year. Does anybody have a year? That's awesome right there. We got plenty of time for you guys to hug these guys if you want. We have gray for 18 months, black for 2 or more years.
One of those because I left before every year.
Well, look at that.
You got what, 3 years or 3 years?
3 years.
Oh, okay. Well, we,
Maybe 30 years was my
all right.
That's awesome.
By the way, we are breaking into our new stuff.
That's awesome.
We do have, some of you don't know, but we had to reorder. And there's one, they didn't send us one that was the right color. And so we're having to reorder it to get the right color. But it's silver, is it silver that we didn't get?
Yes.
So that's what? That's like 5 years?
Okay, so now, for the one we don't have apparently, we got silver for 5 years.
Well, I think we have one, right?
Got one.
Yeah.
It looks great to me, but whatever.
5 years?
We have gold for 10 or more years. Congratulations to everybody that got a key or a bracelet tonight. And thanks for letting me be a part of. We don't use, we all have today. Set that up for
Can you come to the right? Go back now.
Hi, Doug. Sorry, I thought he was going to do another chance at a white bracelet, but
A what?
I thought he did once again. Who needs it? He did.
Well, you can do it.
Is there anybody? Goodness. Is there anybody that does need to pick up a white bracelet that didn't get a chance the first time? No? All right. Hello, everybody. My name.
John?
Anybody needs a book? You got a workbook, a Bible?
Okay.
Anybody workbook or Bible?
We are going to be working out of the Life Recovery Bible and workbook.
He would like to get a 3-month bracelet.
All right.
All right, Mason.
I didn't know the color in 3 months.
Green, maroon. 90 days. Is it okay if I sit down?
You go, man. Yeah.
Is it okay if I sit down? Yeah. All right, perfect. What is it?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Cecil.
All right, do we need to start all over again?
No.
Just ask anybody else needs a bracelet. Does anybody else? I mean, we love it, we're glad. Congratulations, but we don't want to miss anybody. We don't want to miss it. Because this group feels like that's important.
Yes.
Amen.
All right.
Congratulations to everybody that picked up a bracelet. My name's Corey, and we're gonna be, hello. Step 6, God's abundant pardon. This is out of Isaiah 55, 1 through 9. The step is we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. I can start.
Go right ahead. I'm just trying to get synchronized with you.
Okay. All right. People tell us, oh my goodness, to repent and stop thinking the way we do.
Is that what where you need to be?
Yeah.
All right, read that sentence again.
People tell us to repent and stop thinking the way we do.
Okay, hold that. So, what do you think about that statement?
Well, it's easier to tell somebody else to fix their problems than it is to fix my own sometimes. I know that.
Anybody have any other comments on that? Oh, you mean that human thing that we do, right? Yeah, I understand. And so, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I agree that people do tell us that, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's smart. They tell us to repent and stop thinking the way we do. So basically, stop acting like that.
Because like he's paid every conceivable, that you're doing
Okay.
And
Yeah, well, that is, but the statement here, Jesse, is that he's saying that people tell us this statement to stop thinking and tell us what to do. We need to stop doing what we're doing. We're just saying stop. How's that ever worked out for you, somebody telling you to stop?
depends on how they say it.
Well, you got a point there. And if you know them or not, right? How many agree with that statement?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so why, Jesse, we'll just put you on the spot here since you're talking. How about that? Why do you think people tell that's their statement? You just need to stop. Okay.
Can I answer?
When he's done.
Okay, sorry.
You can be finished anytime you want.
Well, I'm having trouble with it. Say again?
Why? The question is why people do that. Isn't that a great question to think about? Oh, well,
What?
I'm already obligated to him, Miracle, so you can fight him for it if you want.
The little or
No, I'll wait.
Could be, could be.
I'm thinking like a lack of judgment. I mean, let's see how.
Wait a minute, you spoke out of turn. Corey's been itching to talk here.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what
Whatever
Garth.
he's want, he's got the mic.
I want to hear what Garth has to say.
Okay, I'm interested too, but I was just trying to.
Let's hear it, Garth. What do you got?
I think I said lack of judgment, but I said after what I meant, like, I think there's some judgment they're placing upon somebody when they say stop. I mean, at least that's what kind of comes to my mind. Because like, you know, I won't name who she was, but you know, she's saying no, well, you know, hey, that's easy for you to say, you know.
And you're
but-
talking about my favorite president's wife.
I don't know, I don't know who your favorite president is.
Well, it was President Reagan.
Oh.
It was Nancy Reagan that said that.
Yes, she was, yes, but you know, that's easier said than done. And I also think that if one hasn't experienced, then we'll, you know, just say no is,
There you go.
it's.
That's what
easier, you know.
That's what I
Now,
believe.
now, Robert wants to clarify what you just said.
I think people who say that, it's easy for them. That's how they live their life. If they don't want to do something, they just tell themselves, well, then don't do it. However, they don't have the deep-seated character defects and flaws that we're trying to get rid of, and God is helping us by removing those, but they're so deep in there, and we're so obsessive that just because someone tells us to stop doesn't mean we're going to be able to
Right.
even stop thinking about it. Because that's just what we
But
do.
with the
We
message
think
is
about it.
good, right? Repent and alter your thinking, right? I mean, but you made a statement there that that they may not have your particular problem or what's going on. May is a big deal there, but you know, we recognize some of our problems. How many of us that sometimes tell others that are maybe newer in the room, and I don't know that it happens so much in this place, but that they just need to do what you say. Stop, quit, be different, think different, and they know because they've been down that road. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that? What do you think about that?
I think if they have been down that road, then they would know how hard that you can't change on your own. That's the whole point of why we're here, is that we can't change on our own, and God has to work within us to do it. So if somebody, I think everybody.
I need to get this in there before we lose it.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. No, but you said they should know that, they should understand, and I agree with you 100%. But what's reality?
That they don't. They forget that. They forget.
Was that a question or a comment?
They don't.
Well, how many of you have ever had that happen and you knew that they went through the same thing, right? If you didn't, you will, right? You want to say something, Mary?
What you're saying, why maybe they said that, just my thinking was that if you don't dwell on it and think about it, you might not do it? Is that possible?
Well, you're asking me to read
That's denying
a bunch of
that it's
people's
there,
minds.
I know that, but I'm saying, what if you don't dwell on it or think about it? Maybe you won't do it, maybe that's the...
Well, I'm not saying that the statement's not true, but the fact of it is, if you want to throw another scripture on it, judge not lest you be judged. And so, as I think Garth made comment, that it is a judgmental way with all maybe good intentions. Okay? But the fact of it is, how helpful is that? Love never fails. Judgment usually cuts pretty deep. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
So, oh wise one, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know now. I forgot.
I interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'm glad we were able to get it figured out.
Did we get it figured out?
I hope.
So, let's take it one more step. Can we take it one more step? Is that all right? Richard Billy, is that all right with you?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Just checking. You're sitting on the edge of your seat like, I didn't know if you was getting ready to throw something at me or... And that is, what do you think are the odds that something like that might happen to us?
I didn't understand.
That somebody.
What are the odds that something like that, somebody saying something like that to you?
Very hard.
Very high. Yes,
Okay, all right, so, between 0 and 100, and 100 being the ultimate high, so
98%.
98%?
Yeah.
Well, that could be, you're very cynical, but maybe truthful too. So,
In this world, maybe 99.5.
but, wait a minute, the point that I'm trying to get to is, if we know that's coming, what should we do about that? Be careful!
What should we do or what do we do?
Yeah, I didn't ask what you do, because we already know that, right, Miracle?
Miracle.
And so, what should we do, Miracle?
Don't listen.
Do what?
I said don't listen to it.
Well, that's one strategy. How's that worked out for you? Anybody else got a comment?
Change our minds, change our ways, change how we do things, change how we think about ourselves, don't listen to others, listen to God.
Some of that was really good, John. Just, if you know something like that could be coming, then you can go ahead and make a decision how you're going to respond to that. Be proactive instead of reactive, right?
Accept it with praise.
Well, just understand that they may not have all the information. Isn't that a nice way of saying it? And instead of saying, you damn fool, that may be true, or then you could say they're acting like other things too, but fact of it is, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
That might be an opportunity to educate others on the difficulties of having an addiction.
It could, but you may not be in a position to be able to do that. And that's a big problem.
I have to say, it's harder than you think. I mean,
And so, really, the main thing is, if we learn to take care of this inside here, it affects everything outside here. So how you respond, okay, is so important. Would you agree with that?
No.
So, do you have anything you want to say on that?
I just got to the point of telling thank you for the suggestion, and I go on about the day.
There you go. There you go. That's good. Isn't that great? You know, and the trouble is, when stuff like that happens, it usually affects our day unless we predetermine how we're going to deal with stuff like that, right? And it could cause us even to go into relapse.
You ever watch Bobby Hard to Stop It? That was my first assignment for my sponsor, and it really stuck out to me, so I don't know if that helped me greatly when people do that to me, or what. I highly recommend it. It's great. It's like 6 minutes of your life, but it made me understand that statement so much better.
So here we are. You know, we recognize this, and this skit that she's talking about, the guy's answer to everything was just stop it. And that was all. This may be a little harsh in reference to that, to the person that he was playing, that was all he knew, was just tell you to stop it. Well, it may be a little bigger than just stop it, okay? And so that does not mean that we're giving anybody permission to not stop, right? But we're saying that we gotta, because we've been living in a place that we have been avoiding reality and escaping it by numbing and behavior, right? Obsessive compulsive behaviors, anger, right? That's a big drug, right? And so we've started our growth mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in all kinds of different ways. You understand what I'm saying? And so what we have to do is we need to recognize that they hopefully it's with a good intention, and we take it. Thank you for your suggestion. I'll consider that, because that's really what I want to do. But saying that's not very helpful is probably not going to. That's not going to help you, and it's not going to help you. Would you agree with that statement? I don't have to be right here.
Yes, I think if it comes from a place of love on their end or on your end, then it's okay.
Because people can love you and still do stupid stuff, right? Hello. Right? And even give you wrong information. That doesn't mean they didn't love you. It just means they're ignorant of the facts. How many of us have been that way? I didn't ask for a show of hands, so. All right, Corey, get me out of this hole.
People tell us to repent and stop thinking the way we do. Most of us would give anything to do this. If it were only that simple to stop our obsessive thoughts. When we are starving emotionally, it is almost impossible to stop thinking about what has fed that hunger, even when we realize it doesn't satisfy. People don't seem to understand. They may quote a verse like in Isaiah 55:7, "Let the wicked change their ways and banish the very thought of doing wrong." But we think, how? My thoughts seem to be out of my control.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a good goal to have. I think that the reason we say the serenity prayer like we do is to try to get ourselves to understand what is in our control and what is not. And take responsibility for what we can change and then let go and let God have control of the things that only he can change. So, I mean,
So what about this, that I'm thinking that my thoughts are out of my control?
I believe that obsessive thoughts can be out of control if you let them get there. I'm a firm believer that, sure, once you take yourself to a point where those thoughts are more likely to happen or more prevalent or being fed, then it can get to a point where it's out of control. But if you know that those obsessive thoughts can occur, you can make an effort to not go there.
Well, what about this question he has in the middle there? How?
With God's help.
That sounds real simple.
Well, and how can we control our thoughts, or how can we stop thinking with obsession? Is that what you're asking?
Read that sentence again.
Says, but we think how? My thoughts seem to be... People don't seem to understand. They may quote a verse like Isaiah 55:7, let the wicked change their ways and banish the very thought of doing wrong. But we think, how is that possible? My thoughts seem to be out of my control. And what's the question?
Well, we think how, so I was wondering what your thoughts were about this how.
Well, I think...
My exact question down here that I've got written down here.
Yes, sir, let's hear it.
Any thoughts?
Oh, of course. On how? Well, I was in a meeting one time and somebody shared, they said, I just don't know what to do. I cannot get myself to stop wanting to use.
Okay.
And that's everybody. And she didn't realize that. I think that's where we were all at one point, is it's not something that I can stop. If I get into addiction, then it is very difficult for me to stop. And I have been there where it's like, how am I supposed to... We had the sheriffs come to our house one time because somebody was... The sheriffs come to our sober living house one time, and the sheriff was telling the guy, he said, well, what you need to do is just not drink tonight, and then tomorrow come back and get your car, after the guy was already drunk. And that's not how people that are in addiction operate. So, I don't know if I control my thoughts, though, but I can definitely feed into them, or I can practice not letting them control me, I guess. Is that a good...
Sounds like a pretty good idea.
Okay.
I wonder what the group has to say.
What does the group... Oh, sorry. There we go. We got plenty of people. Woo!
For the last 3 years, I knew I had to do something different. So every time...
Can you speak a little louder?
Every time my thought process is wrapped around anything I do that took me to that obsession and compulsion, I seem like a crazy person. I would take off scrolling and saying the Serenity Prayer. I would do anything to change that thought process. You do lots of practice, it works and works and works. Then the ones that I couldn't get rid of, my God thoughts. And I'm not allowed to touch those things. I'm allowed to pray on them once a day. Otherwise, I'm not allowed to touch this box. This box does not belong to me, or the contents of it. So that is how I've done it for 3 years.
That's
You
good.
can control your thoughts. You have to cut it off as soon as you know you're heading down that path.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. And so that everybody understands, be right with you, Shane, that... Shannon? Sorry.
I found this at Dollar Tree. It says, give it to God. You can utilize anything.
Right.
It's just whatever you put in here, it belongs to Him. And every time I take it out and play with the things in this box, I'm the one that ends up hurt.
Ah, good,
So
good.
stop putting the things in the box.
But your strategy there was, when you first started off there, was, I look like maybe a crazy person, but I go for a walk starting quoting things that are helpful to you. One is the Serenity Prayer, and that is, again, a form of directed meditation on what you want. It's practicing what you want, instead of practicing what you don't want, which is, kind of goes back to a former conversation we had a while ago. You know what I mean, Craig?
Can you refresh my memory?
About practicing what you want. You're just kidding me, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the... What we want to do is find mechanisms, and this is what I was, and that was what I was hoping that you would talk about, was maybe some helpful mechanisms or strategies that have helped you to handle that how, and so Tony's helped you out here, so
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, I had something, but it's
You had something.
it's a little more. It's not personal, but there's things like, if I know that once I start watching stuff that I shouldn't be watching, I can't control it in commercials or scrolling through Facebook or something, but I can definitely not go looking for it. And when I do see stuff like that, I have a choice at that point to say, okay, is this something I want to lean into and start looking this up myself, or is this something that I can remind myself, okay, I know where this leads, this is not healthy for me and my soul, and just go past it. I'm a big believer that, it's like I have an obsession with drugs. So does that mean I can't go anywhere because I might use drugs? No, it means that I don't allow myself to get into an environment that drugs are prevalent and available, and I don't hang out with people that glorify drugs, because I know if I do, it will lead to me using. So if it's there,
Strategies, good.
okay, those are the strategies that I use. I don't,
Work for you.
they have. I don't allow myself to get anywhere close to the possibility.
So that's kind of like practicing what you want instead of practicing what you don't want.
Yes, sir. I'm on board with that. Thank you Craig for taking the time to bear that.
Shannon?
It is Shannon.
Shannon.
Well, there's been a lot going on, so
Could you speak a little louder, please, Shannon?
She kind of stole my answer because I was going to say.
Well, go ahead and say it again, because you'll say it differently.
Yeah, ma'am.
Oh, go right ahead.
I was going to say prayer. Because if you believe in God, like me, for example, I believe in God, so I also believe in the devil. And I believe that, like, let's say I'm having a good day, everything's going good, and then I'll have these intrusive thoughts, right? And I believe that that's the devil. And sometimes I don't have control over what I'm thinking, like, so somebody may make me angry, and I think, well, I'm mad at this guy now, I might kick his butt, and, I have that intrusive thought. So what I immediately go to is prayer. Because I realize that I'm not always in control over my thoughts and what happens to me throughout my day, but I'm in control of myself. So I pray, I use prayer. I say, God, will you please take that from me? Because I don't really can't control everything that happens in the morning, but, I surrender to God. So
That's great. That's great. And both of you are talking about trying to shift your state, the state that you're in. Okay? Either you're going to be controlled by your state, or you're going to alter your state that you want to be in. Does that make sense? So, all right. Anybody else?
Because, a thought is, a conversation I'm having in my mind, and if I pray, that's a conversation I'm having, and I can't have both. I can only have. So, well, if I'm talking here, then it's then it's going to take away, I think, from talking there.
It's kind of the one that you stay with the longest, and that's what I'm going to say. Because those intrusive thoughts, like he was talking about, they'll hammer on you for a while, right? Cravings come and they last a little bit. They say, 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? As long as you don't feed them, they'll dissipate. You feed something else, which is what we're talking about, right? And so you go ahead and you decide that I'm going to do something else. Now, these all sound kind of easy, right? Almost as easy as just repent and, stop thinking that way, right? But it's not easy, but it is very healthy and doable. But it takes practice. And when you mess up, and you will, you realize it, you accept it, you deal with it, and then you move on, right?
Amen.
Start practicing again.
Practice what you want. Okay? Yep, I'm stupid, I did something wrong, but that's what I did, but that's not who I am. I'm better.
Amen.
Okay. Go, Corey.
God, okay, we're going to back it up. People don't seem to understand. They may quote a verse like Isaiah 55:7, "Let the wicked change their ways and banish the very thought of doing wrong." But we think, how? My thoughts seem to be out of my control. God does understand. He put that verse in the larger context of dealing with the hunger within our souls. He said in Isaiah 55:2-3 and verse 7, "Why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? Why pay for food that does you no good? Listen to me and you will eat what is good. You will enjoy the finest food. Come to me with your ears wide open. Listen and you will find life. Let them turn to the Lord that he may have mercy on them. Yes, turn to our God, for he will forgive generously." The word translated generously can be understood to mean in progressively increasing measure each time we come.
That's the first place.
Yes, sir.
So remember earlier we were talking about, does that grace get stronger or weaker or stay the same? You remember we talked about that in the beginning? And we had different people with different opinions, right? And I'm not saying that, but this generously, the definition that Corey gave us here was that as we continue to receive that pardon or that grace or that forgiveness from God, that it continues to increase according to this definition. So I'm thinking that, as I think maybe Craig said, that I don't see how it could get any weaker, and I don't disagree with that. And maybe, theologically speaking, it can't get any stronger than what it is, but maybe we're able to appropriate it in bigger and more powerful ways into our life. Because we don't open up all the way in everything in every place. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Two secrets here and there.
And so, but as we begin to experience it over here, it is transferable maybe over here, and so then we have it, and it seems to almost, in a sense, feels like it multiplies in our life. Would you agree with that or disagree with that? Tommy, you been quiet. You got any thoughts? You don't have any thoughts? Oh.
I was just thinking, I used to have a hard time forgiving myself too, and then hearing people say, well, you gotta change the channel.
Good.
And I did not understand what they even meant by that, like, change the channel, but I had such bad thoughts constantly. And it seems like over the years, they were right, I need to learn to change the channel.
Well, tell us how to do that.
Well, just stop doing the things that activity.
Say it again?
Stop doing the things that feed that activity.
Okay, that's one way.
That's what I was thinking.
Is that the only way?
No, there's lots of ways.
Well, what's some other way?
Staying away from the places that, led you to think like that and behave that way.
Okay, now, we've kind of drifted a little bit about what, change the channel on forgiving ourselves. That's what you're saying, right? So how do we change the channel on forgiving ourselves?
Think more on forgiveness.
Do I?
You think more on forgiveness when you said that.
Think more on forgiveness?
Yeah, and you accept it. You have to accept the forgiveness.
Okay, all right. And anything else on that, Tony? John wants to say something.
We have to accept God's forgiveness.
Wait a minute, say it again, I couldn't hear you.
We have to accept God's forgiveness before we can forgive ourselves.
What do you think about that, Tommy? All right. Anything else? Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Tommy and John.
Anything else you want to add on that, Cory? I have one more thought that,
I mean, I can share a little bit that I still have those thoughts while I'm driving down the road, and I think about the good times that I thought I was having when I was getting high, and only through God's wisdom am I able to know not to entertain those thoughts, you know, because if I lean on my own understanding and say, you know what, that does sound nice, I could just pull over here and do it's my spirit inside of me, and God, and I would think the Holy Spirit says, no, you know, that's probably not the best idea, and where that can lead is not a place that I want to go, so. But I still have them.
I had an analogy here. That's all right. I had an analogy here that may be tied in with this, and that is that like weightlifting. You know, the more you do it, the stronger you get. In other words, what you practice, you get better at. So. Okay, Cory, go ahead.
Oh, awesome. We fight our addiction on two fronts: dealing with the hunger deep inside of us and changing our thoughts of doing wrong. Neither battle is easily won. Each requires our daily readiness and willingness to allow God to satisfy our hunger and help us overcome our defects of character.
Okay. So, what is that hunger, and how do we fill that hunger in healthy ways?
Well, that hunger, I believe, is a desire to be loved and a desire to be accepted and comforted and useful and with purpose. And healthy ways would be to lean on God and our families and those who care about us.
Well, all those things sound pretty healthy that you said.
Yes, sir.
And plus those others. So what's your thoughts about this hunger that they're speaking about? Deep hunger, just deep hunger.
The deep hunger to do well, or well, I could have a deep hunger of my flesh where I want to satisfy myself, or I could have a deep hunger to satisfy and please God, but I don't have this. I mean, at the root of it, I have a desire to not feel pain, and this.
Well, the beginning of the statement there was we need to fight our addictions on two fronts.
Yes, sir.
And one front is this deep hunger that we have.
Okay.
Is that not true?
That's what it says.
I agree with that. Okay. And Abraham Maslow says that you know on the hierarchy of needs, that the first one is survival needs, the next one is belonging needs, wanting to be connected, which you made reference to in many ways.
Yeah.
And what do you think happens if we don't get those needs met?
We try to find them on our own in places that are unhealthy.
Would you agree with that? So we have this hunger, and we either find healthy ways or unhealthy ways.
Yes, sir.
And if it's unhealthy, then it sends us down one path. If it's healthy, it sends us hopefully down a different path.
Yes, sir.
With that?
Yes, sir.
So, and we're talking about fighting this addiction, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, but denying that we don't have those hungers or those desires is futile. Would you agree with that, Corey?
Yes. Like that, I don't care if people don't love me, or I don't care if I don't have any friends, saying stuff like that. Is that what you mean?
That's one.
Yeah. Because I think that's a lie that we tell ourselves. Everybody wants to be loved and to be accepted. I mean, maybe not like complete sociopaths or something, but the majority of people, I think, want to be loved and be accepted.
And the second front on that was changing our thoughts on doing wrong. And I thought that was an interesting statement. Did you see that as interesting?
Well, especially since we just talked about how sometimes we can't change our thoughts, and we kind of, said that people telling us to stop thinking like that doesn't really work, and then down here it says what we need to do is stop thinking like that, right?
Well, it says that we need to deal with it on two fronts. And is that not true, or is it true? That we need to change our thoughts of doing wrong, okay?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Stop living the lifestyle and stop thinking about.
Why is it unhealthy to not think of doing wrong stuff?
Our actions will follow our thoughts, and if we're thinking about doing wrong, we're gonna do wrong.
So is it in our best interest to continue to hang out with those thoughts?
No.
Keep those thoughts alive?
No.
Feed them when they show up?
No.
Anybody here ever have a so-called friend that you felt like you had to feed one way or another? Somewhere in life?
I was that person.
Yeah.
People fed me.
Man. Well, we're not gonna go on that.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right. And so we're talking about recognizing that these thoughts of doing wrong is actually why should we change? You want my answer, or you want to give it?
Why should we change?
Why should we change those thoughts of doing wrong?
Well, how are we going to do right if we're thinking about doing wrong?
That's true. Anybody?
How are we gonna find peace?
That's good.
And if we're thinking about doing wrong and we're doing right, then we're not going to be very happy. Even if we're doing the right thing, but we're thinking about doing the wrong thing, I'm going to be very happy.
Kathleen, you look like you have a thought.
I look that way all the time. Be surprised.
All right, let's hear your
My
thought.
My
Yeah.
thought is that the why here, one of the reasons why we really need to change that is because because that releases a power inside of us, right? It releases that power, and it also releases chemicals inside of us, right? And it can be various different ones, but one of the main ones that I was thinking about was dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that wants to push you, empower you, make you to act out. You follow me? And so when we think about doing wrong, it very often can dump chemical inside of us that would reinforce those thoughts.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about that? Has anybody ever found that out to be true?
Like you said, make it more difficult to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. And then we also romanticize and glorify it in our minds of it being a good thing to do those things. And I believed that for a long time, that it was a good, it sounds terrible, but a good thing to hurt people that tell on you, or to hurt people you don't like, or to hurt people that took stuff from you. That was a good thing, and it was celebrated and glorified in my surroundings.
Where does grandiose thinking come in here?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what grandiose thinking
Is that an opera?
Yeah, well, it could be.
The grand old opera.
Grandiose thinking is that you think that you're the biggest, the baddest, that, you know, you're the, say it again?
Think you're good, don't think.
Well, that's one way of putting it. And so, and it's not realistic.
You find out that you're not. That's what I found out, that I wasn't. So,
Hey, Cecil, you got any thoughts on this?
I just know that since I haven't been on drugs, I just get angrier and angrier, you know, and I don't know if that's all bad, but, you know, I just when I was drugging, I was quiet, you know what I mean? So now that I'm not on drugs, so when people test my speaking skills, they don't always feel, you know?
Am I testing your speaking skills?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. We were afraid.
I didn't know if I need to run, hide, or what.
No, sir. No, sir. So,
Well-
you know, I just think I'm more aggressive now than I was.
Do what?
And I know that's got to have God to get that out of us. you know?
Okay, right. And you're wanting to do that, and you're turning to God, and you're looking for His help, and He'll reveal things to you as you go to help you to do that. Now, one of the issues here is you used whatever substances or behaviors in the past to either numb or avoid those issues or confrontations or people or life or crap, who knows what.
Well, you know, I went through, I watched my mom take her last breath, you know, shortly after that.
Mhm.
My wife separated, yeah, my dad died 30 days later. So I was using enough to numb that pain.
Yeah, yeah.
I sit there and watch my mom go from looking normal to looking like a skeleton.
Uh-huh. And that's painful.
I had no enough to deal with. Everything I worked for hard was on the way down. But it didn't help that when God told me that we could be over. I wouldn't make my wife. I knew He was going to be with me for that one. You know, but I took it up again and I really did. But, you know, and I understood that part of the Bible when it said, if it's for a man to be married, that's good because he's gonna worry about the things of his wife. You know, when you're trying to live that life, it comes alive. You know, and so why would I ask her to come with me? And God just spoke to me and said, bring her to me.
Well, we're glad you're here tonight, Cecil.
I am glad to be here, but I told Jesse I'm
I
out.
practically had to drag him here. This has been a couple weeks in the making. He's got a lot of really good knowledge.
Oh, we're glad
You
you're here.
just think I got
He's
it.
my prayer brother at
All right.
Water Garden.
Good deal.
And so my anger get out of hand. You see me act up one time. Like that was not like you. You know, because we the Bible, you get some characteristics that God was talking about, you know, in Galatians, you know, the fruits of the Spirit, it works, but sometimes people bring them not really good fruits, you know.
Well, I call them golden opportunities to try to help you learn and grow.
Well, you know,
What do you think about that?
I'm just a critic, though. I'm not a critic. and I see everybody see me trying to be right, and I go and get out of my character. Like yesterday, I beat myself up all day. Because when I get angry and try to fight somebody, I feel like all my Bible skills just went down the hole.
Well, just make healthy choices, right? Make healthy choices, right? And beating up on yourself, recognizing that you did something wrong, and do what we said a while ago about letting it go and forgiving yourself, and then let it go and move on.
Amen.
Be what you want to be instead of what you've been.
Right.
Corey? What did you learn out of this lesson?
What did I learn?
Did you learn anything out of this lesson?
Yes.
Good. Would you mind telling me?
I learned Isaiah is a long book, so there's lots in there that I've never read or learned about. So,
But see, we only had 9 verses that we were supposed to work on.
I think
It's all right. You can
I haven't. I think it's important. Somebody explained to me one time that it's not always about hitting the mark and doing what we want to do, or what we're trying to do. So it's the fact that I want to do better and the fact that I want to do what's pleasing to God. Sometimes that's all I get. I wanted to do right. I didn't do the right thing, but I wanted to, and I want to try better next time. Is enough sometimes. And I don't know if that was in there, but to be pardoned and to say, yeah, you did it, and you're going to do some even dumber stuff as you grow, but if my heart is in the right place and I'm leaning towards trying to be live a life that's pleasing to God, then He'll take care of the problems that arise from me growing.
As long as we don't quit, right?
As long as we don't quit.
Don't sabotage ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Stay in. All right, so what's
What's
your
a takeaway?
What's your takeaway?
My favorite, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is Jesus and lady at the well, where he says, I'm the living water. And I believe that with every part of my soul, that I've tried to satisfy myself with lots of other things, and they work for sometimes for a little bit amount of time, or either that's not going to last, or the consequences from feeding on those other things is catastrophic. And I believe that Jesus and following his teachings is what's going to satisfy that deep hunger in a healthy way forever. And I made a joke the other day. Somebody's like, I'm lucky that I don't have to call somebody and buy this stuff from them, that I can just have it for free at home, and it's not dependent, because that was a real downside to doing drugs, is other people had that control over them and over me. And Jesus is right here available in my book for all times. And I don't know if I took that away from here, but I took it away from somewhere.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Corey.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Woo! All right, Willie!
All right, now we'll get the rest of the story.
Yeah, right. See, Corey's not all that tall.
He was sitting on a stool, though.
Oh, well, burst my bubble.
Sorry.
There, see?
Pull it up a little bit.
No, we're about the same size if he's sitting down. So anyway, hey, good evening, everybody. How we doing tonight? Good. We're done. Oh, okay. Don't work that way. Question number 1. In what ways have I tried to fill the hunger of my soul and the thirst of my spirit with other substances and behaviors instead of trusting and following God's will. Question, been easier to ask, what haven't I tried? I mean, really. You go out there and you know it's wrong, you do it anyway, then, you're trying to basically play God at that time. And it leads you nowhere. I let anger get the better of me all the time. If you said I was wrong and I didn't like the way you said it, I tried to change your mind. All the time. And I really didn't care what you thought about it. So, that's what I got on one. You got any questions for me?
No, he does.
How mad did you get it yourself? Whatever that morning you got mad at yourself? Super mad at yourself. Under the air conditioner?
We are not going to talk about that. You understand? That is work. This ain't work. We're done. We're past that. I do stupid stuff all the time. Won't be the first time. Won't be the last. But we're over it. You need to get over it.
Let's go.
Okay.
Number 2.
Question 2. Am I ready to turn to God for abundant pardon and for continually nourishment of His Spirit to keep me free of addictive behavior? Why or why not? Well, yes, I am ready, or I wouldn't be here.
Good.
And me being here keeps me on that right way. My thoughts have changed, not all of them. The stuff that I do now is stuff that I would have never thought that I would have done 20 years ago. And stuff, but yes, I'm ready, and I'm trying to do the best I can at that. And like Jesse was saying, something happened earlier this week that I did a stupid thing that I knew. It wasn't that I did it I knew I should have done it. I knew what needed to be done. But I overlooked a simple task that would have saved me half a day to 2 days' work if I would have just remembered that little thing. And yes, at that point in time, I was ticked. It took me about 15 minutes to get over it. But I went on.
But 15 minutes in years gone by, how long would it have taken?
2-3 days in lockup.
Yes, you were in jail longer than that.
5 days for the main one that I done, yeah.
So, congratulations.
I thought I did good, yes. Question number 3. Do I believe, not just in my head, that the life God has for me will be more satisfying than the one I have lived under the cloud of addiction? Is my heart willing? Yes, I do believe that 100%. I do not look back on what I have done anymore, because that is not what I want to be. That is not what I want to be remembered as, but it is what I've done. God forgive me. I am forgiving myself on most of it. But like I said, it's hard work. It's taken a while to do, but eventually I will get there. And what I do from this day forward, I won't have to look back and say, hey, do I need forgiveness for that? Because I don't know. I've already got it on that. And when I start thinking with my heart instead with my head, it works out a lot easier in the long run. Don't say it's easy, but it does work out better.
So in the first part of that question, it
Okay.
says, do I believe, not just with my head? What does that mean?
Oh, is it just not people say, hey, do you believe this way? And you're thinking, hey, I think that's the way I should believe it. Oh, wait a minute. Let me slow down here a minute. Say that question again.
Well, you can read it if you want.
Do I believe, not just in my head?
Yeah.
Well, that's making you think deeper than asking out of the heart instead of what the first thought pops up on
Like
that.
fast and slow thinking.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Exactly. I was getting to that. I'm just slow at it.
Well, fast and slow thinking may or may not be a part of that, but it could be, that's a title of a book. But do I believe, not just in my head? So we're talking about, there's a cognitive, what we'd call belief, and then there's another kind of belief. Well, what would that other belief be? Garth?
No, I don't know, but I'm trying to think, I think cognitive, that'd be kind of superficial.
Cognitive be in your head, thoughts.
Yes. But
It could be superficial, but it could be, there are churches that are strictly focused on cognitive issues, just thinking about things. I remember, do we have time for a story?
Of course.
Are you sure?
At least I do. I can't speak for the others.
Cecil, is it all right if I tell a story?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Hey, this is your first time here and you know the right answer. So, at least I think it is. Anyway, I many years ago, I was visiting with a fella that he told me that he used to be a preacher and he went to Ozark Christian College down here on the hill. And they are primarily focused on the Christian church aspect of things, which you may or may not know what that means. And I as a child, that's the church I went to, was the Christian church. And so I was somewhat familiar with the Christian church idea of things, even though not very much, but somewhat. And he said, now this is just what he said, I'm not making a statement about everybody or all organizations, this is just what he said. He said, well, I went to school, I went to Ozark Christian, and I went into the ministry and was a pastor for 10 years or something like that, if I remember correctly. He said, but I wasn't saved. In other words, he wasn't a Christian. He functioned like a Christian, all right? But the way that he communicated it, it was all in his head, all right? Not in his heart. Now, a lot of us want to live out of our head. I, for a good portion of my life, just lived out of my head. Because I didn't want to have anything to do with feelings and heart stuff. You know what I mean? Right? We could go into that, but I'm not going to. But, so, I think what they're talking about here is, I heard a psychologist say this the other day, and I thought that was so good. He said, there is head knowledge and there's heart knowledge. And I was a little surprised that I heard it from a psychologist, but it was good. And so we're talking about now. Sometimes we have to renew our thoughts, right? Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Romans 12:2. But we also sometimes have to be careful and soften up our hard hearts. Anybody here ever had a hard heart? I can raise both hands on that one, right? And so I just thought we ought to point that out. Any comments? Ralph, you look like you have something you want to say. No? Okay. Anybody else? Scared, huh?
I'm scared.
You ain't scared?
No, because, you know, if it's just got in the head, it's like, you know, I may not mean it. I mean, I'm saying it because I know it's the right thing to say, and it's the right thing for me to do. But in here, I don't feel it, or it's difficult, you know. If it's not here, then we're less likely to, you know, to do what we, you know, are saying.
And I'm glad you said that, Garth, because, see, one of our biggest issues in life is not being aligned. You know, our head thinks one way, our heart thinks another way, and how does that work out for us? And what we have to do is bring in alignment. Okay? We're a little past time, but I'm going to throw this information in here. There is a research center called the Heart Math Institute, and you can look it up. And they talk. One of their big items is about the heart, that how the heart has power. We think that the brain has power, but they said the heart has more electrical power than the brain does. And this sounds strange, but this is based on their research, that they do a random generated picture with people, and they see what reacts first, their head or their heart. Which one you think reacts first? Yes, the heart. The head can actually, they determine that out of your brain you have a reaction to what's going to be on the screen even before you see it, and your heart is even quicker than that. It's quick, but the thing of it is, we have these abilities that we don't even understand. But what if we are way out of alignment? What if we were in alignment? And how much more could that enhance our life? What do you think? Is that too much?
You know, and what you said happened to me the other day. And so he and I were walking down the sidewalk, and I said, oh, because I saw something that I thought was a dead rat or what have you. And we got upon it, and it was a turd. I'm just saying that my heart, seriously, my heart acted first.
Right.
You know, because it, you know, I just see it, and I was like, oh, you know, poor thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's a turd. I was like, what the heck? So the
But you got a good heart.
But that's an example of it, yeah.
So, Willie, what'd you get out of this lesson? What'd you learn?
Slow down on what I think about. And if it's right, act on it. If it's not, throw it away.
Good. So what's your takeaway?
My takeaway? That is very tough for me, be honest with you.
Well, you don't have to say anything you don't want to say.
I just hope that someone else can learn the way that I have, or not the way that I have, but the way that I said can help them learn, to help them get on the right path. That's it.
All right.
I'm done.
Thank you, Willie.
Very good. Thank you. Very good.
Any comments from anyone?
What a great evening.
Did anybody learn anything tonight? What was your takeaway?
Uh-oh.
That cracks Robert up every time I say that.
I'm good. I'd like to say something.
Shoot.
I think it's when people were talking about, we have to learn to fill our thoughts with something to replace those thoughts that led us to our compulsion. So for me, I knew that that my thoughts would automatically go to, how am I gonna gamble? That's my big deal, you know. So I had to fill my life with things that would occupy my time and my thoughts. So I started reading a lot more. I started to go to meetings. I started to go to church. Started to make friends in church and in the recovery groups. And it's just absolutely amazing how much different your life can be if you will just make those small changes. And
That's a great statement. Small changes. That's a great statement.
yeah, and we don't want to minimize what we can do, and I'm so thankful that people have been encouraging me to do those things, because without it, I would be in the casino, as much as possible, and my life would be crap, So I know sometimes we think we can't get over it, but we can. We can. Take advantage of the people around you here in these recovery groups and in church and wherever. Listen to them and make friends with them and make sure that your life is full with good things instead of bad things.
That's good. Thank you.
And when I recently relapsed, and so I stopped and I'm laying there, I'm feeling bad. Yeah, my thoughts were not, oh, I need to go get some more to feel better. It was thinking about, like I like to get better, Yeah, I missed out, so.
Is it all right to say, I'm glad that you missed us? And we missed you too. Anybody else before we close? Tommy, you have something?
Cecil raises his hand. Like I saw it. Well, that's what you want me to say, brother. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. Huh? Yeah, I was sitting over here going, that's trying not to say that. I'm stuck on it right now. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. It's what helps me get through my day, brother.
Good?
Yeah, I start to have a hard time, close my eyes.
Good. And see, and when you feel, like he said, when you fill your heart, your life, your mind with good things, because the reality is you can only think on one deep thought at a time, and you get to choose that thought.
Chapter 5, verse 7. Trust in him is like
That's what I meant to say earlier. I wish I could have said it so eloquently. You can only have one deep thought at a time.
Well, that's not original with me, but
No, it's not.
no, it's not original with me. I stole that from somebody, but
You said it like you owned it.
well, it helped me a lot.
Yeah, I think I totally agree.
Cecil, you got it?
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight.
That's good.
Awesome. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you and give you his peace. And you woke up on us there, Miracle. Make healthy choices. She woke up at the right time, didn't you, Miracle?